Welcome to Sipping Reality with Jill and
Megan.
How's everybody doing today? They can't respond.
No.
I'm talking really quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's because you're feeling some type of way.
It's been a week.
It has.
It's been an interesting week.
It
So
sure has.
we're here today, and we're just going to be really honest with you all. And we don't have a topic or a direction. We're just really all about being unfiltered and unbothered. And we're in a space this morning, and we really felt like it was important to just come on and be real about that.
And just sit and have a conversation between the two of us.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be.
Yeah. What was really on my heart and mind this morning, as I've been talking about here on and off, is, the victim mentality, because there's some things going on in my world. And I don't think anybody would blame me for feeling like a victim right now.
Nope.
And yet I don't.
No.
And that's amazing, because I actually see it as an opportunity to propel me forward rather than to drag me down and destroy me.
I think maybe we should capitalize on that for both of us,
Right
going
now.
through what I say we only because everything that happens to you is happening to me too, because of how much I love you. So
And we have very similar circumstances right now in our life. So there's that. You can relate to it all very personally.
And I can be heartbroken for you and vice versa. Yeah, and it totally triggers stuff that I'm dealing with too, and I'm going to have to deal with. And, but I think maybe from all of this we can talk about what's interesting that has come from this is us both feeling like we need to double down on what we're doing for ourselves. And
we're doing something good. Our lives are in a positive upward swing direction, forward motion, energy, and we can't let anything get in the way of that.
It's interesting. Right before all this, we watched those two totally different comedians who both had the same message, which I thought was interesting. And the message was, be real and be yourself and do what you think is right, and don't stop doing it no matter what people say about you.
And that is exactly what we have been doing.
Yeah.
And despite circumstances, what we're going to continue to do. And that's why today's not our regular recording day. We actually just got together to work. We were going to work on the website and do some other things. And we just both really felt it was essential that we just get on here.
All I can hear in my head is, go hard.
Yep.
Go hard. Go hard. Like, I know. Whatever. So perverted.
Whatever. 12-year-old brain. Shut it off.
Shut
it down, Jill. Shut it down.
I love your 12-year-old brain. No, but
only because you have one too.
I do. But no, seriously, just double down on it.
There is a reason why we started Sipping Reality, and it's about us personally. It's about all of you listening. It's about being real in a world that's so fake and
manipulative, and people lie and hide, and
we don't want to do any of that. We want to share it all. If there's anything bad that you could say about us and it's true, we're going to say it first.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Right.
Talk about us.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't say anything about me that I'm not already saying about myself.
Well, see, that's
my writing. I did a writing on that.
Well, I've always thought about that scene from 8 Mile with Eminem when that last battle that he had, and the guy said all this shit about Eminem, and then he was like, he just threw out his whole life.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, my mom lives in a trailer park. Yeah, this, yeah, that. And then he says, go ahead, tell them something they don't already know about me. And then he drops the mic.
Oh, it's so freaking powerful. You've already said that to me before, like a month ago. And just even saying it again, I get chills.
I think about that all the
so
time.
Real.
It's like, go ahead and try to say something to people that I haven't already been honest enough to say about myself first.
Right.
Go ahead.
I can tell you, the worst thing I've ever done in my life, and it'll be like, I guarantee you've done probably the same exact thing.
Right.
Like,
Right.
yeah, like we're not here to hide. We're here to share. We're here to not only be comfortable with ourselves and our mistakes and our flaws and our good qualities and our gifts and both ends of the spectrum and the whole spectrum of who we are, but also so that you can look at yourself and know that it's okay that you're the whole spectrum of who you are. And yes, every day we strive to be better. And if we have some way that's harmful or detrimental, it's like, yeah, we got to change that. But if you're taking an honest look at yourself and you're willing to grow and change that and you're actively doing it, then there's no room for shame or guilt. It's like, gosh darn it, you're changing. You see it and you're growing, and that's all we can do.
And the thing about all of this is that the shame that I have felt personally in my whole life for just being a goddamn human.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let someone drag me back into that shame.
No one is perfect. No. We all do shitty things sometimes.
Yeah, we do.
The best of people under stress lose it. Yeah. Lose their minds and scream at people or say horrible things.
Yep.
Gosh darn it, I was so mean to my aunt who cared for me and loved me and was doing everything to try and help me to heal when I was in my 20s. I got drunk and it was horrific. I don't know, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. I don't know. I was in a really bad place in my life. I was like really drunk. I'm like trying to remember to actually tell the story. And I'm like, wait, what happened? Well, that's how bad it was.
That's not bad.
My poor aunt. She's still in my life. She still loves me dearly. And I am so grateful. Yeah. I mean, gosh darn it. Like, there's good people out there. And I bet she's done some really crappy things. And she's not perfect. But she's a good person.
Right.
And I'm grateful that she still loves me.
She
took a lot from me.
And we've talked about this, but nobody in this entire world has escaped trauma. No one. And we all have shit that we're dealing with. We all have things that trigger us, whether we're conscious or subconsciously reacting to them. And what I'm realizing, I think what we're both realizing is, like, the people that don't want to work on their shit are just going to be the ones pointing the finger and always trying to point out our shortcomings and try to shame us for them. And
yes.
And that's not our responsibility anymore to take that on.
Yep.
To take on that guilt, to take on that shame. Shame on that person.
Yep.
Actually.
Well, because they're not changing or growing. They're using your stuff
to feel better,
to deflect and to make them feel better about themselves. And it actually has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
They're using something that happened with you in order for them to hide from their own shit and deflect. Yeah. And it's like, dude, I'm the good person because I'm the one looking at me, and I'm the one that every single year of my life as an adult, I have become a better person.
Same, yeah.
I'm becoming better. And you know what? That's better than those people who aren't trying to use our stuff against us.
I think the most important thing that we can probably take from what we're going through is that we're not going to let it get inside anymore.
Be a victim of it.
And be a victim of it, but also take on that shame, take on that guilt that doesn't belong to us.
Because I have been fighting that. The last 2 days, I have been fighting shame and guilt because somebody accuses me of something, and all of a sudden, everything that I've actually done wrong comes to surface, and I'm like, what if they're right? Because I have done stuff wrong, but what did I say? No one's blameless.
I said we have to own it. If we've done something wrong, we own it.
She told me, she yelled at me yesterday. She's like, you stop this, Jillian. You own that shit. And I was like really, really tired and worn and not in a space. So despite the fact that I didn't get all fired up, there was a place in me that got fired up when she said that. Yeah. It didn't come to surface, but it was there in me. I'm like, she's right.
Like, yeah,
she
I'm a fucking
right.
human. I'm a fucking human. I make mistakes. And what?
Yep.
And your point is what? Like, really? That is the point.
That I've made mistakes in my life?
Yeah. Well, like,
but that very mistake that this all stemmed from was something that I had apologized for and owned up to and done the necessary caring for it that I needed to afterwards. Right. And of course that wasn't brought up.
No. No, but like we said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No. All that matters is, well, even just with this podcast, we're gonna go through some shit. People are gonna say whatever they want.
Get comments online from videos, like the way people are
They're
nasty
vicious.
in it.
They're
if somebody's doing good or somebody's doing something that could be judged, the way that people just attack online. And we're putting ourselves out there online.
Yeah. So we really need to be in a place where that just bounces right off of us.
Yeah.
It's
that growing to a healthy place where you're my own foundation and who I know I am. I've done writings on this too. Everything we end up talking about, I can always reference like one of my blogs on the website. Getting to a place where the foundation of who I know I am is unshakable.
Right.
And it's been shaken the last couple of days, and I'm being honest about that. It's been shaken, and that means that I can either be a victim of that and what shook it, or instead I can make a different choice and I can say, wow, look, I'm not unshakable yet. Keep going.
Right.
Keep moving forward. Keep doing what you've been doing, Jill, because what you've been doing is working.
Yeah.
And now this is something bigger. This is the biggest thing that's ever hit you, and it shook you, so that means you have to get even stronger.
Yeah. Keep going. I felt that so strongly in the last couple of days. I mean, that's why we're recording right now. We're just going to keep going.
Yep. We have absolutely nothing to say, but we're here.
No, we don't.
Clearly we do. We can always talk.
I know.
We just talk.
We do.
We've been talking nonstop for 2 days.
Yeah.
And with other people and on the phone and talk. I keep saying I can't talk anymore. I don't want to talk. And then an hour later, I'm like, oh, we're still talking.
She's like, we need to stop, but I can't.
It's really hard. Yeah, I was in this place this morning. I woke up. I have plenty to do, but not like structured. Like there's nothing today that I have to do at a certain time or by a certain time or anything like that, right? So I have a long list of to-dos, but I can completely do them however I want to do them. And I wake up, and we texted a few times on and off, but you were busy. Morning routine, mom life. You had a conference with the school. You had all sorts of things going on. So we were like texting on and off, and then we talked finally, and I was still in bed, and I'm like, I'm in this place where I don't want to get out of bed, but I don't want to do anything at the same time. And I don't want to talk to anyone, but I don't want to be alone. Or I don't want to be around people, but I don't want to be alone. Like, it was a really intense space.
Yeah.
And I have never felt that intensely like that without being, like, depressed.
Right.
Like, in my younger years, I'd get depressed.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel depressed, that heaviness, that like, it was just, I was just sitting and being still with myself. And to be honest, I feel that way right now. My chest feels the same as it did 3 hours ago. And yeah, it's a really, really intense space to be in. I'm like, I don't want to talk to anyone, but I can't stop talking. I don't want to be around people, but I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be in my house, but I don't want to go anywhere.
Right.
I'm like,
yeah, it's super duality.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, my writing on conundrum, I tend to be a conundrum in general. Mm-hmm. We went bowling.
We did.
We went bowling.
Oh,
it was
so
fun.
cute.
It was fun.
It was.
I knew it would be. Yeah. I'm like, well, I will have fun bowling, but I'm terrible. I told them beforehand.
And
there were three of us.
One of our very first subscribers actually took us bowling.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
An avid listener.
He is an avid listener. And
yes,
he's lovely.
and he took us bowling.
He did. He even knew Jill's shoe size.
Oh, he's amazing. He literally looked down at her. Megan said her shoe size, and then he looked down at my feet, and he goes 7.5. I was like, and then me and Megan were distracted by something. I can't remember what, and he went and picked out bowling balls for us.
Yeah.
And mine was the perfect one for me.
Yep.
I was like,
yeah.
How did you do that? Like, men can't do that.
No.
How did you do that?
He's very
sweet. No, but that's more than sweet. That's like magical. I'm like, didn't I call him magical?
I think you did.
I was like, that's magical.
He's a thoughtful human being.
He is. So we went bowling, And I am terrible. So the only time I've bowled in the last...
You were beating me for a little while, though, and I'm good.
Well, but this is the point. This is the conundrum point.
Okay, yeah.
So the extremes that are me, always.
Yeah.
So So I told them, which is true, that the only time I've bowled in the last 20 years has been recent, like since my kids have been born. And since I'm playing with my kids, we always use the bumpers. We use the bumpers. So I'm like, but I know how many gutter balls I would get, because if you hit the bumper, you know it would have gone in the gutter. So I know that almost every time I throw the ball, it would have gone in the gutter, right? Literally. It's not an exaggeration. It's almost every time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm absolutely terrible, but I will go, I will play, and I will have fun. So we went. I played terrible. I got a ton of gutter balls. Mm-hmm. I always got at least one pin down.
You did.
There, always.
I was super proud of that.
And somewhere in the middle of the game, I got 2 strikes in a row.
That was incredible.
2 in a row.
And I was...
We were all like, what just happened?
I was winning. Well, I wasn't winning, but...
No, he won.
He won. But I was ahead, and then you were ahead.
I got ahead for like a minute, for a second, and then I played terrible the rest of the game. But it was so perfect, because we were saying it. I go, yes, this is me. I'm either amazing or terrible. I'm either hungry or I'm full. Like, I'm never just like want a snack. Like, I always want to, like, I don't know. I'm always a conundrum. The conundrum that is me.
You are.
Yeah.
I am too. I am a super conundrum.
So it does. It kind of fits that theme, but it's
I was thinking about the gutters.
What?
You actually probably threw less gutter balls because the gutters weren't up.
Possibly.
Isn't that interesting?
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah,
psychologically, because I had to focus more.
Right.
I had to try harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that thought.
Well, think about it. It's like with kids today. So I've taken my kids roller skating and ice skating a bunch of times in the last couple years. Mm-hmm. And one of my boys, we went roller skating. When was it? In this winter, we went roller skating, and it cost $5. Okay, I have 5 kids. It costs $5 to rent the things that the kids can hold on to. Mm-hmm. And it already cost $100 just to walk in the door.
Right.
It was like $96 to walk in the door with me and 5 children to go roller skating. So
it used to be so cheap when we were younger. I was there every weekend.
Yeah, but my parents also didn't go roller skating and didn't have 5 kids. I was alone with 5 kids and had little ones, so I was going to be roller skating. Yeah, of course it's cheap. Yeah. If it was just you, it would have been $12. Right. But when you have 5 kids and you, it's 96.
Ridiculous.
Okay. So because you have skate rental too, that's with the entrance fee and skate rental. Yeah. So because if you can bring your own if you have your own, but I don't. So we were all renting, and so one of my middle children, right, was like, I want one of those things, and they were really mad at me that I wouldn't rent them one. Right. And I'm like, I'm not, because this is going to be like another $25. Right. They didn't all need it, but I said no. And I said no because I guarantee you, if you go out there without it, you're going to learn how to roller skate this time, and you're going to love it. And that's exactly what happened. And if he had that rental, he would not have learned to go roller skating that day. He would have been dependent on it, and he wouldn't have gotten up on his feet.
Well, I think it's the same thing with training wheels.
Yes.
Riding a bike with training wheels doesn't teach you how to ride a bike without them.
No, it just allows you to ride a bike without knowing how to ride a bike. Yes.
Once you take them off, you have to actually relearn.
You still have to learn.
There's no shortcut.
Yeah, you still have to fall. You still have to learn. Yes.
Well, it was snowboarding. How many times I busted my ass?
Oh my gosh. Dragged herself. She got dragged up the lift. She got dragged. That's
I had to go through like embarrassing things.
I was sad I didn't get to see it.
Yeah, she wanted to be there and laugh at me.
I'm a terrible friend.
No, but I seriously had to go through really embarrassing stuff.
Yeah. You fell and got dragged.
I got dragged up the lift.
Yeah.
Not the seat lift, but the one you hold to go up the bunny hill.
What are those called?
I don't know.
I forget.
I didn't get off the bunny hill. I stayed on it.
Yeah.
But, man, I fell the first time I went down, and I my calves were on fire, like from my toes to like my knees were just like burning. And I fell so many times. And I was like, oh my God. I remember one time I was like, am I going to be able to do this?
Yep, the only way is through. But we can even use that as a parallel to what's happening in my life right now.
Yeah.
I want a foundation. I've put that out there. I put that energy out there. I did a writing on it. I want my foundation in who I am for me to be unshakable. And here I've been presented with an opportunity to become unshakable in who I know I am.
Right.
So I can either be a victim of what's happening, or I can recognize that this is exactly what I asked for. It's happening in a horrific way, but how else do you become unshakable in that without having to face what it's going to take to become unshakable?
Yep. Agreed.
That's amazing twist of thinking.
So how many times I fell? First of all, I was dragged up the lift. Okay, till I got on my feet. Okay,
I'm so sad I didn't get to see that.
And people were laughing at me. Okay, so there's that.
You're like, people were actually laughing at me.
They were laughing at me. And then there's the embarrassment of that, and then falling.
And you were alone, so you didn't even have friends to like laugh with or like to help you up or anything.
Yep. And then
like, all the just falling. Me, I'm here. Hi.
The pain of falling over and over again, and the embarrassment of falling. And then the first time it was just like over and over and over. Yep. And then the second time I went down, it was less. And then the third time it was even less. And then the fourth time. By the fifth, sixth, seventh time I went down, I didn't fall at all.
Yes. It feels amazing when you get down that whole hill and you don't fall.
And like, I'm like looking around people. I'm like, they're going to think I'm crazy. But I was like celebrating all by myself. Like, I didn't fall. But I had to hurt, like, it hurt.
Yes.
And I was sore for what, like 2 weeks after that too.
Well, I think that's the thing too. I mean, we can get way into deep, like, spiritual, philosophical talk, which Megan and I actually do constantly. We haven't done that on here. But into, like, what is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of being here? But I'm not going to get into all that or my views, but there is a lot of people that believe that this is a soul journey for our souls to strengthen and grow. And what I see is that if that is the truth and that is the reason, again, not getting into a big debate at this moment, but just because that's a thought for a lot of people, everything in life can be an opportunity for our soul to strengthen and to grow or to not.
Right.
And I want to keep stepping into and choosing the growth. And if this life isn't for that and there's another reason, so what? Because growing feels amazing. Yeah. And each stage of this life, I embrace it and enjoy it more. I have more self-love and self-worth and
love to give others too.
Well, and this is the thing. I used to reject loving myself because I'd be like, oh, I don't want to love myself because I'll be selfish and just think of me. And what I'm experiencing when I finally let that go and started taking care of myself the last couple years is that the more that I've cared for me, I'm like, gosh darn it is true, because I rejected it so deeply for a long time. But it is true. I am becoming a more patient mother. I'm having more space to open to them again. I am becoming a better friend. I'm more open and able to compromise, or I don't like this, but I know they do, and I'm okay with it because I'm in a good place. When I wasn't in a good place, I wasn't able to compromise because I needed every little bit of every comfort that I could have because I wasn't okay.
Right.
And now I'm able to step into uncomfortable situations or allow myself to be uncomfortable to care for somebody else because I have so much comfort already within me.
Right.
It really does.
It change how you can care for other people.
And you do have to get a little selfish for a little while to get there. There's a period of time where you have to say, I have to shut it down on everybody and everything, and I need to take care of me in order to get to a place of health where I then can come back and have more space.
I think that's always a part of it. I think that we need to be selfish on a regular basis. Like, not, I don't mean, what I mean by regular basis is we need to be able to have healthy boundaries. And I think that's what healthy boundaries are, where I'm able to say, nope, like tonight I'm going to take care of myself. I know that you need this or that, but tonight I really need to care for myself.
But there's times where I really need to care for myself and somebody else needs something and I need to be there for them.
Oh no, I mean that's not what I mean. I mean like inappropriate.
Like my kids.
Yeah.
I have to constantly, no matter how tired I am, I'm
totally
the only
different.
one that's here for them.
It's totally
I have
different
to
as
take
a
care of
parent.
them, you know?
Yeah, you can't shut that off.
No, but that's not true. People do shut it off.
Well, yeah.
People do. People ignore their kids.
They do.
People do all kinds of things.
It's true.
I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. But the more
So you
care,
don't have to.
But the more you care for yourself, again, the more you're able to care for them and give them.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. I don't have to be selfish. It's actually made me not selfish.
Right.
But that's also because part of the foundation of who I choose to be is a good person, is to care for other people. I want to be a good friend. I want those things. Some people don't want that. They don't care about that.
They don't even think
so
about
if they're going to take care of themselves, it is going to turn into selfishness.
Right.
So it does depend.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of fear that I would become selfish if I loved myself. And it was just a way to keep myself from loving myself, I guess. I don't know. I wrote about it. It sounded much better in my writing than it just did right now to all of you.
Well, I don't know. I think we've had a lot of discussions and we've talked a lot about. I remember what you used to say about self-care. Like, oh my gosh, self-care. Like,
Well, I still agree with that to some extent.
well, yeah.
I think self-care is over.
You can take anything to an extreme.
Is over talked about, but people do.
Because people take it to the extreme. There's like, if anybody makes any
But
kind of
people
mistake
have.
in their life, they
Same with boundaries. Same thing has happened with boundaries. So therapists and in substance abuse and programs, it's all self-care and self-love.
Yep.
Self-care and self-love. Self-care and no, boundaries, healthy boundaries. That's what I was going to say, but self-love too.
But if
healthy,
it's too extreme, it's not healthy.
But healthy boundaries, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is that that's never explained. It's just said you need to do this, and then you're given a list of like what healthy boundaries look like, or what boundaries look like, what coping skills look like, what self-care looks like. You're just given all this stuff, but no one talks about the fact that self-care can turn selfish.
Yeah.
To an extreme. Boundaries can turn toxic when placed to an extreme.
Yes.
Everything's on a spectrum, and there's always a middle point of health. And
Totally agree.
not having boundaries is toxic, but having too strong boundaries is toxic too.
Yep.
Just like too much self-care becomes toxic and selfish.
Yeah.
There is a middle ground of caring for me and giving, and caring for me and giving.
Absolutely.
And there's times where I absolutely don't want to do something. I'm too tired. I don't feel like it. I'm in an emotionally bad place, and I still step out and help someone else. And I receive from that. Sometimes that's actually self-care. To not think about myself and do something for another person.
Yes. Yeah.
And I could have been like, no, because I feel like I really need to sleep tonight, or I feel like I really need to take care of my own emotions right now. And people do take that to an extreme. It's not always necessary for me to take care of myself just because taking care of someone else would feel uncomfortable right now.
No, I agree with that. That's something that I feel like I focus on a lot too. I will go out of my way to care for the people that I love.
Yeah. And you might need a break from that. If you're caring for somebody who's sick, it's like you're at the hospital for days, but then, okay, I need to leave. Yes, I need to leave now. I've overfunctioned
for people and done for things that they could have done for themselves.
Yes,
really,
and
truly.
that's unhealthy, right?
Yes.
So we
I've
really
learned to tone that down.
Yes. It's not about having boundaries. It's about having healthy boundaries. It's not about self-care. It's about having a healthy sense of what is caring for yourself and what is caring for others.
Right.
And so when it's just like self-care, boundaries, like all these things just put out there like that, it misses that there's a midpoint of health within it all. I think that's that's what
that's an important point.
That's an important point that I is very important for me to, I don't know.
Well, me too. I mean, from someone, like I said, who is totally overfunctioned for people, for my parents, doing, cleaning my parents' room, my bedroom, like their bedroom, and mine.
As a kid? Yeah, as a kid.
Doing their laundry and mine. Like, I'm over functioning. That was not a healthy boundary. And so I had to learn to say,
well, that wasn't healthy caring for others.
no.
You weren't caring for yourself, but you weren't actually caring for them either. You were over functioning. That's not healthy, right?
Right.
But then if you were to say, well, I'm not doing anything anymore for anyone else because
Or myself. Then if I chose the other route and said I'm not doing anything for anybody, that would have been the extreme on the opposite spectrum.
That's what I've seen happening, which is why I warn about it. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, for me, I feel like it's something to share and something that I'm passionate about sharing about. That's what I was trying to say just a second ago, because I have seen so many times people, because I worked in inpatient substance abuse for years back when I had a career. And so I've heard so many times people use that, well, I'm just taking care of myself. I'm just doing self-care. My therapist said I needed self-care, so I'm caring for myself. But they actually slide to that other extreme that's unhealthy, which is why I've always had this thing with like, yeah, self-care. But even self-love. Well, I'm just loving myself. Oh, so you went to the nail salon instead of taking your kid to their soccer practice because of self-care, like of self-love? Like, people, but I've heard those things. I have too. I've actually heard people use these healthy sayings to move them to the extreme and then use that to say that that's what they're doing. There's always a middle point. I mean, it sounds very, very religious, and I apologize for those that reject anything that sounds religious, but I always say there is a narrow path to everything.
Well, I think there's a thread of truth in everything, too.
Oh, well, yeah, there is.
Yeah.
There is. The greatest lies and manipulations in this world are all based...
have a thread of truth.
All have a thread of truth.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not the belief system that's true. It's
also one reason why people believe the manipulations. It's why people can slander people, because they take a thread of truth and then they twist it and embellish and add and straight up add and lie too. But because there's a basis of truth, a little bit of that sounds real. It's how people manipulate all the time. Even, okay, so Megan and I were very religious for a long time. We listened to a lot of people talk about the Bible. Yep. And in those videos, we're very grateful that we have some discernment. People would listen to somebody and they would give a talk, a 15-minute talk, half an hour talk, whatever, on something that was true. It was a good topic. All the facts could be checked. And then they would all of a sudden believe everything that they'd say, and they would watch this one YouTuber constantly. But any video that I watched after that one video was like, oh, that's way off. Yeah, that's way twisting. Off. That's way off. That's way off. Like, and now they're teaching these doctrines that don't even exist, and they're like making stuff up. And then we're hearing people who just believe it because what they said in the beginning was true. Right. Yep. So now they believe anything. And this is why manipulation this is why it works. Yeah. Because it's all based on a thread of truth. And we have gut feelings. We do. And we know when we hear truth. And if that triggers us, it's how people get into religious cults. They're drawn in by a piece of truth, and then they get sucked into it because we recognize that bit of truth, and it speaks to us, speaks to our soul if it's some deep thing. Yep. And it's like, yes, you've got something that I've been seeking, and there's a that trust. I've been searching
there's
for.
There's a trust that's
and a trust gets built
from a charismatic group or person. There's a trust that's built through that thread of truth, and then you can twist embellish anything. And twist anything after that, and they'll believe you.
Yeah, I've experienced that recently.
I have. Yeah, me too. I mean, I think we've experienced it a bunch of times. Yeah.
So anyways, we have been talking longer than we normally talk, and I'm not surprised that happened. Yeah, when we had nothing to say. No. Like, what are we going to talk about? We just knew we needed to record.
I said we just need to sit down and start talking.
Yeah, so that's what we did. Yeah. We just sat down and started talking. So, yeah. Well, so grateful you joined us today. Thank you.
Yeah, we love you guys, and we're always grateful for you listening. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll talk to you soon.